State trustees approved another increase in tuition for CSU students. The 9% hike will raise tuition by almost $500, bringing the annual bill to nearly $6,000.
Yeah, the latest increase may have you asking, how are you going to pay for your college education or your child's college education? With more now on your options, really, joining us in the studio is the CEO of ESM Group, Billy Downing. Billy, thanks very much for coming onto the show with us. And I got to tell you, as I just said, we just put a kid through the UC system at Santa Cruz. We have a daughter who's a sophomore at Sonoma State, and it is mind-boggling how expensive it is to get a California upper education now.
Well, Amy, I think the challenge now is people are kind of left saying, what's next? It's 9 years in a row now that there's been a fee increase at the CSU. UC education has also increased. I think kids are saying more money, less classes. The news that is coming out is the fee increase, but what nobody's talking about is the 10,000 cut in enrollment, which is going to go through next year. So kids are saying no classes, harder to get them, can't graduate in 4 years. What's next?
Yeah, I got to leave to get an education.
And I think most people are starting finally to look at other parts of the country, mostly in the Midwest and the South, where the cost is comparable, even with out-of-state fees. And by the way, a lot of those schools are trying to recruit California kids. So there is scholarship, grant money, academic merit money awarded to those kids who do well in high school. So, I think the idea is, one, apply to more than just a handful of UCs or CSUs, really widen your scope. And two, if you're willing to look outside the geographic scope that most of our Sacramento kids are, look in the Midwest, look in the South. There's great opportunities there.
ESM Group, which Billy heads, is an educational service firm that provides strategic college counseling services to corporations. So having said that, I'm going to ask you this question I think I know the answer to. Are we reaching a period where maybe we have to rethink the whole process of, does a kid need a college education? Do we need maybe more trade schools, vocational schools?
Ed, that's a really good thought. And I think the story that we told kids in high school for so long is work hard in high school, you'll go to a great college, you'll get a great job. That's not necessarily the case anymore. And so I think, a lot of kids are saying, what if I keep working hard and go to a great school and take out all these loans to go to a private school or a great public school? I can't find a job. You'd be surprised how many kids are calling us looking for jobs to tutor because they can't find jobs in the corporate world.
Well, look at Steve Jobs. I mean, he, quit college and, with that brain, became a multi-billionaire. And he was one of the people who said, and it was his Stanford speech that said, college isn't for everybody, but I highly recommend that you get a college education if that is your calling. But we're pricing ourselves out of the market.
I mean, the unfortunate thing in California in particular is that the CSUs and the UCs are there for those who need it the most. And what's happening is we're taking more out of state, more overseas, and we're marginalizing the group of kids that we're supposed to be serving. There's no doubt that the CSU and the UC trustees are challenged and handicapped because of what's going on in Sacramento with the budget. But the reality at the end of the day, it's the kids who are losing, and so we've got to figure a way around it. So, Ed, to your point, rethinking the scenario is something in the conversation needs to happen soon.
You mentioned overseas kids coming in, a lot of engineering students, I know, from India and some of the other Asian countries. Does that give the schools a better reputation? I mean, what's the motivation to bring so many foreign students in?
I think the motivation is twofold. One, it brings diversity to the campus, but two, the out-of-state and overseas kids pay a premium to be here. So not only is it, higher tuition and the higher living expenses because they often bring mom and dads with them to visit and the economic impact.
Billy, let me ask you this very quickly because we're running out of time, but I have a friend, Alex, who is right now trying to get his FAFSA loan and information out so he can get a loan. He's going to Sierra right now. He wants to go to Sac State, and it's the paperwork that is daunting for him. If I put him in touch with you, would you help him through that process?
Absolutely, no problem. Happy to help.
Yeah, he is a kid who he's a very smart kid, and he's trying to go to college, but he's got to work a full-time job, and he's got to go to college, and he's got to find a way to pay for it. So he's the perfect person to talk to.
And the idea there is that Alex isn't the only one. Tons of kids like Alex through our community who are looking for help, and we need to do our best to help them.
All right, Billy
I'll
Downing.
put him in touch with you.
ESM Group, we're going to get your information put on our website.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. That's Billy Downing from the great counseling group, the ESM Group. It is 8:46 at KFBK. We'll take you out to your drive coming up shortly. We also have your forecast on.